So I'm gonna hold this up here. Maybe I'll suspend that like that, so that as we talk about this will stay in place. This is very low tech indeed. So we're going to talk about the foot. We're gonna do some foot mapping. So we can gather around this book just for a minute, and I'm gonna grab some towels so you can put it under your butt if need be. So just briefly, pop that under your butt. It might feel more comfortable. And I'm just going to go on a quick adventure of the foot. So take your foot in hand. Here you go. Or you can sit on the chair. And to begin with, we're just going to go on an adventure with one of your feet. We're going to concentrate on one flipper first to see how that feels, and then we're going to flip to the other flipper.
Flipper to clipper.
Or if you have your feet with you, you can pretend they're flippers. If you left your flippers at home. So moving on. This thing here at the end of the leg is full of bones, fish bones, adapted fish bones for land, and just gonna have a little adventure with our fingers around the foot just to feel what it feels like, just to bring your attention to this foot. Notice that the way it comes into the foot, there is a bone on the outside, that's the fibula, and that comes down, and that makes part of that joint. And then the shin bone, the front bit there, that's your tibia, and that comes down, and that rolls over the heel here. And that point on the top there, that kind of rolling point on the top, which in contemporary Alexander school terms is called the heel, that's where tibia comes and sits on the top there. So that point of contact there, on the top of the structure there, that's the talus. And underneath that is the heel bone, which is the calcaneus. So we're just going to play with that for a minute. So you can grab the talus, you have to wrap your hands around the talus there, and grab your heel, and see if you can hold the talus in place while you just roll the calcaneus around. And you'll feel that there's a bit of movement there. And the fantastical thing about this is that the movement here allows the translation of weight across the foot. There's a very strange distribution of weight here in the foot. If you look at the point of contact of the calcaneus, you'll see that it is off center. There's no straight lines in nature. Well, there's definitely not any straight lines in your foot. So this thing about the calcaneus in relationship with the talus is that it ends up, there's there's an odd crossover of tension that goes from one side to the other through the relationship of these two bones. So you get an awful lot of problems in knees and hips through these bones being not fused, well, I would say thinking they're one bone. So when we're sitting here playing with this, you're kind of going, you're two bones. So you can hold the calcaneus and move the rest of the foot around. You'll feel there's a whole load of movement able to be going on in there. And then if you proceed into the top here, there is a bone there called the navicular. And you can fiddle that around. You can grab the top of that and just on the top of the foot and just give that a little wibble wobble. And then if you follow that towards the pinky bone, the pinky side, then there's another bone back there called the cuboid, and you can see if you move that about in relation to the calcaneus and the navicular. And you'll feel that, you see how the pinky side bone, that comes out, it really sticks out on that side. And then there's a series of cuboids across there. There's a cuboid there, and then there's these three little bones. Now this is where the tripod of the foot is. You know, when I'm talking about, Dark talking about the tripod of the foot, this is the tripod, here, here, and here. And you'll feel there is the phalanges of the foot comes off there. But that's where the center of the 3 points of the foot are.
So that's really interesting because you think about your toes ending like right up here, but they don't.
They don't. That's
way back here.
Really well spotted. This is like the wrist of the leg, and these phalanges just come off like the long fingers. And so those, just play with the long fingers of the foot there, and just give them a little, ask them to spread wide, like the fins of a fish, like the flippers. And note that the big toe has 1, 2, 3 bones there. And the other toes have 1, 2, 3, 4 bones there. And this is a pattern that happens in both, up here as well. So you have the same pattern as up in the hands as well as the feet. Also, there is the pattern of 1 big thigh bone, then you got 2 bones here, then you have 1, 2, 3 bones here, 4 bones there, 5 bones there. Yep. It's good biological math. And it's the same up here. You have 1 bone here, 2 bones here, 3 bones there, 4 bones there, 5 bones there. Pretty sweet system. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take the screen away now. I'll show what we're going to do today. How does it feel already? Oh, we'll give the other foot love in a minute. We're just going to do one side first. Oh, it's okay. So well, the reason is so that you get the experience of how it affects the whole side to play with that side. So I'll just briefly go over, because then we can do the whole sequence. So when you're in constructive rest, you're going to do, so my feet there, cool. You're in constructive rest. What you're going to do is, or invite you to do, is we'll do the points, and then how are we looking? What does that look like? Okay, well, it's a little bit. Okay, I'll do it at a slight angle. I think it's just some folks in England. So anyway, they don't care. That nothing exists below the waist in England. This is old news. So the foot is going to just explore, and as you explore with the foot, it's going to go. The knee is going to, the knee and the pelvis, the hip, they're going to go with it. So you can play this game of catch, where as the knee and the pelvis fall, the foot can come underneath it. That's a really fun game, because you can tell whether you're holding on by how this floats this way or that. So you're going to flipper and explore the range of movement of the foot, bearing in mind the weight moving through the foot up and the weight holding on here. And you just keep flipping backwards and forwards like this. Eventually the toes will come up, and then you can explore with the toes as if the heel is a root. And eventually the leg will be extended. Then arm up above, you roll over to one side. And there again, you're going to just do a little bit of flippering there. And just feel, the idea is to, as you flipper, release up the side. Then we're going to be on the front, and with that same foot, you're going to flipper the leg out to the side, flipper it into the middle, and then when it gets, as it goes up, you're going to bring the heel up off the floor, and also bring the knee off the floor, just to see what the whole foot feels like on the floor. Because this is kind of lizardy. Yeah? So there's the evolution away from fish here. And play with that feeling. All the time going, what can I release as a result of this movement? Exploring the whole foot. Then when it comes back to the middle, we're going to come back up onto here. And I think we've done this before, where you experiment with rolling of the whole toe over the floor and seeing if you can find the straight connection where the bone gets stacked up. Then after we've done that for a bit, I'm going to crawl forward and then come to standing and compare both sides, how that feels on both sides. Let's have a little bit of that, maybe a little walk around. It's pretty weird. And then, well, I don't want to, you might not feel anything. And then we do the other side. Okay.
Okay.
All right, good luck. And
Sounds like about 2 hours worth of work.
I'll wait.
We'll leave like 8 minutes.
So, just to begin with, we'll just run through the system of connection with the floor. The point at the back of the head, the occiput, is in contact with the floor. You notice that already?
It's like one's nice and flat on the floor, and the other's just up.
Wow. So the one thing that Dart talks about is the fact that you can notice tension by the fact the body raises up off the floor, and so I guess that is as good an example as any of, you know, one foot is released, and so it's able to make more contact with the floor than the other one. So thanks for sharing that, Bo. That is that's great. So just let the breath allow for more release. So as you breathe in, you bring your mind to that point of contact. And as you breathe out, you can release whatever places your mind's eye has come to. And let the muscles of the face, the jaw, the eye, the mind, let those places of tension just melt into the supportive arms of the planet. And then bring your mind's eye to the shoulder blades. And let the contact between the shoulder blades and the back of the head give release, releasing to lengthen. And then bring your mind's eye to the elbows and Something you can also play with is if you have the map of the foot that we've just looked at, and you bring it to the map of the hand, see if you can allow the 2 bones of the arm, the bones of the wrist, the 3, 4 bones of the wrist, and the lengthening phalanges of the long fingers, release to lengthen. Really have a sense of how long your arm is. Of course, the arm extends from the sternum to the end of the long finger, but also there is, of course, the muscle relationship between the back of the head and the long finger, and also the base of the spine. There is the latissimus dorsi of the back, among other many other muscles, lengthening all the way along to the end of the long finger. And so you can bring your mind's eye to the 3 points of the pelvis, or the 2, or the 1. And then as you breathe, just allow the pelvis to lengthen and widen, to give way. Allow weight to feel support, so that you have width and then you can bring your mind's eye to the 3 points of each foot. I'm going to come around and I'm just going to do some hands-on, and if you would like no hands-on, then just let me know. The 3 points of each foot. There's some translation between the big toe and the little toe and those bones we were just looking at and the heel. And see if you can allow the bones to use contact with gravity to have movement as part of that contact. So if you leave a dollop of treacle on a counter, treacle, it's like syrup, like thick syrup. It's like molasses. You leave a dollop of molasses on a counter, it will spread due to gravity. Which means that gravity creates movement. Okay, so the foot you've been working on or unworking on, just allow the toes to begin to explore. And as those toes explore, So you'll feel a change in relationship, gravity with the knee and the pelvis. So there is a kind of a game there of like balancing a stick on top of your palm. So as you move the foot, the knee might move around and see if you can catch the leg in suspension. And you can walk that foot gradually forward. And as you walk that foot forward, there is this idea of the heel and the toes translating weight through all those bones we were looking at, up through the bones of the leg, right up into the pelvis. And so that really is a fun balancing act. You have stacked stones by the river. You're kind of playing that game inside your body. And you can continue to explore that movement. So eventually the toes are going to come up off the floor. And when the toes come up off the floor, then the ends of the toes become, it could be like the head of a snake, or it could be like the flower is coming out at the end of the end of a stalk, or it could be like a seaweed with waving in the water. Still, in the same way that the fingers reach up and the shoulder and the elbow becomes the roots, here the pelvis is the root and the heel is the root. But always the ends of the toes are sensing upwards, sensing lengthening.
Mm-hmm.
And when that foot is reached the end, have a little wave of the toes from side to side, just to feel the looseness of the bone in the socket as that goes from side to side. And let the major muscles of the leg go as you just go from side to side. Yeah. Beautiful. And then you're going to extend one arm over the head because you're going to roll over onto one side and lie on that arm. Yep. Thank you for that clarification. Yeah, the side you've been working on. And when you're lying on that side, see if gentle flippering of that foot will just allow lengthening down that side. Yes. So there is a release all the way down that side. Yeah. That's released. You can also use the top arm to give yourself a little bit of balance if you want to massage that side just by rolling on that side. But if you feel release in the position you're in, then by all means just let that be. And I'm going to help by removing some blocks here. And then when you've just given some release on there, come directly onto your front, into prone. So, for those watching elsewhere, we've gone from this position where you're just rolling on your side, and that rolling is brought in by the foot, of course, as well. So the foot is helping doing that process. Then you're just going to come directly onto your front. Yeah, so when you're on your front, turn your head towards the side that you've been working on. And look at that bent arm. And then you're going to imagine that your heel is drawing an arc on the ceiling. So it's just going to roll backwards and forwards. The same movement that you were just doing on your back. And just going to explore spreading the foot across the floor. And in your own time, then you can begin to explore the floor with the whole foot, as if the foot was like an organism of itself, that it's just having a little exploration. So using the tactile sense of the foot on the floor, I'm just going to have a little exploration of that side. And eventually, we'll start flippering that foot up the side there. Now, if that's the side you're looking at.
I see what you're doing.
Oh, I see. And as you are flippering that foot up, yeah, exactly. Really explore the whole foot in relationship to that flippering. So as it flippers up, You can, yeah, you can see if the back of what it's like to have the back of the foot on the floor, to see what it's like to raise the pelvis a little and extend the toe into being in contact with the floor. Yeah. And when you extend the toe like that, see if you can use gravity. So if you have the big toe in contact with the floor and your pelvis comes off the ground, see if you can use gravity to send that translation of weight through the foot into the large bones so that the muscles can release. So you don't have to have a giant amount of effort in that in the movement of the pelvis. And you can fold that foot in towards your butt as well. If you want to do this, yeah. So really play with as much as possible the foot in interaction with the floor. So that you're inviting release and sensation as you play with this foot and its relationship with the pelvis and that whole side. Okay, so then bring that foot back very gradually back to the center line, and then we're going to do a little bit of standing to compare sides. So yeah, just see if you can send your pelvis back over the foot you've been working on into a crawling position, and then just take a moment to roll those metatarsals over the end of the toe. So you have an idea of the foot in flexion and extension over those, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then take a little crawl up to the chair and come to standing. And see, just have a sensation of how one side is in comparison with the other. And there is this invitation to have consciousness about where your bones stack up over those bones of the talus and the calcaneus. Those two connected bones that translate the weight crisscross over the foot. Anything, what do you notice? Any thoughts?
My knee feels a lot softer within less of a separate piece and more of an integrated part of the whole.
That was my experience too, Bo. That my knee felt integrated. Actually, I also felt my ankle feel integrated. And it's not. What's odd about it is it's not. It's not. It's not like relaxed or stretched. It just feels connected. That's the way I felt.
Alert.
Alert. What a really great word.
Mhm.
My hip feels much better on that side, the other side not so good.
Shall we do the other side then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do the speed round.
Well,
Can you turn the music down just a little bit?
yeah, I can do that. Sorry. Okay, so we'll just go take a seat. Might be easier just to work that other foot, just to have a little because the first thing we do is just explore that foot. If it's easier sitting down, the same thing, just to grab the calcaneus, the heel bone, and grab that the bottom of the ankle and just make sure there's some movement there between the two. And then you can hold the heel bone and then just move the rest of the foot. And then move down. You can feel the bones just below those points. There's isn't it wonderful how these bones actually move in relationship to each other? There's the navicular on that side, and then on the other side behind that, the sticky out bit of the pinky side, there is the cuboid, and you can give that a little massage, a little wake up call. And then there's behind the knuckles of the big toe and the next couple of toes, there's these cuneiforms, which are little blocks of bones that translate that into your metatarsals. And then spread those metatarsals and the toes and to say hello toes. If you didn't have socks on, if you're at home, you can put your fingers between the toes and ask them to spread that way as well. You have real tarsals? And I'm going to come into constructive rest. And take just a little moment to reconnect with all those points on the floor. There is no hurry. And just bring your mind's eye to the sensation already in the foot that you've been working on, you've just been working on. And I'm just going to start with your breathing and think of the points in contact of the floor of the feet. So let those points release. Let those points feed into lengthening in contact with the floor. Feel the legs emerge out of the feet and come into contact with the pelvis. And you feel those 1, 2, or 3 points that are in contact with the floor of the pelvis. And let the pelvis release to lengthen and widen. And you can feel the pelvis lengthen away from the point of contact in the back of the head. So on the out breath, you're going to release into the floor so that those points allow the natural curvature of the spine as a result of releasing to lengthen. And then you feel the 2 points of the shoulder blades and the elbows. Feel the whole length of the arm. And let your breath inform the release of tension. And then you can begin to have the sensation of the whole foot that you've just been working on. And it begins to explore across the floor. Flippering one way, then maybe flippering the other. Playing that game of catch the leg. The flipper, in moving, gives you the sensation of the leg being balanced as a result of the movement of the foot. And each movement of the foot is an invitation to recognize the distribution of weight through the support of the planet. And eventually the toes will begin to come off the floor, and you can let the toes begin to explore up above and the other wall. And as it explores, so you roll on the heel, and rolling on the heel rolls the bones going up the leg. And see if you can, as you roll the bones going up the leg, you can release the major bones, the major muscles. So you don't have to hold on to your quads or your hamstrings or your butt muscles. There are supportive muscles inside that will do the work for you. And when you've extended that leg, and just have a little flapple of the leg from the toes, backwards and forwards, to feel the muscles swish around the bone. And then actually you can hold your head with one hand and remove the blocks with the other. And then you're going to extend the arm up the side of the extended leg and look under the armpit and roll over on that extended arm. And when you're lying on that side, this idea of lengthening down that side so that you can really give the muscles along that edge of your body a break, and really let that lengthen all the way along, up through the top of the head. And feel the femur sink into the pelvis, and feel the upper leg, the weight of the upper leg, sink into the pelvis, so that the pelvis becomes integrated in this movement. And then just going to come onto prone. Flop nice and easy into a prone position. And look towards the leg that you've been working on. Unworking on. And then begin to explore with that leg. Explore the floor. Flipper the floor, as if you have emerged from the sea for the first time, and you found that the flippers have a different relationship with something more solid than water. And really enjoy the exploration of that foot flippering up one side. And remembering the system of bones that translates the weight through your fins up through the supporting structure of the fin into the main part of the body. Yeah. Tilting that foot as well. Yes. Beautiful. And I think what's great about this particular procedure is that you could take a long time over playing with this. I think Bo, you said you could do this over a couple of hours. I think you could quite easily. Okay, so bringing your feet back together and sending your tail back to the wall, and then playing with how the metatarsals roll over the ankle. Also noting how that plays all the way up the system into the hip and inevitably up through the top of the head. And then you can begin to crawl towards the chair. And to not rush the point where you place that now awake foot. What was the word you used, Ruthie? Alert. That alert foot in contact with the floor. And then come up. You can flip that chair around and just have a moment of the position of mechanical advantage where you can wag your tail and still have the book behind your head as you come up. Continue to wag your tail. Balance that system over the hill. And you can either walk, you can take a couple of steps backwards. And then a few steps forward. Thanks very much for joining.